Ah, the Mexican Grand Prix. Apparently one of
Avocados from Mexico.
the highlights. One of the highlights on the calendar. Tim, you're always there.
Love it.
And you love it.
Yeah.
Apparently the atmosphere is just unbelievable.
Electric,
there.
buddy.
Okay.
I know that's like, doesn't make any sense, that word, when you're like, yeah, how was it? It was electric. Well, people didn't get electrified.
Mexican fans are just, they're in a league of their own.
The best. They're so good.
I would expect to see Cadillac this weekend with Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas. I would imagine that
Doing
would
the
be
rounds.
Good marketing opportunity,
Doing
I would
the
think.
rounds. Yep.
And they will be racing here next year. Now, I love that you chose a Ferrari for this. I think it's just maximum chaos.
Well, if I remember correctly, Carlos Sainz had the pole here last year, so I was like, you know what? And we haven't used Ferrari in a while, so I was like, and I know you guys just really want me to use Steak Sauber, but I don't feel it's that moment just yet.
I feel like we need a lime green run around
I was thinking
tracks.
Steak Sauber for like Vegas or a night race, so it really shined, like those neon green hues that come out of that car.
I like that.
Really
I like
nice.
that. So this track is quite unique, right? Bit of how would you describe it, Tim? Like in terms of just generally how it fits into the calendar?
The thing with this track is, let's start with talking about, everyone's going to roll their eyes. Don't turn the video off just yet. Altitude.
Okay, why does altitude matter here?
Well, essentially, the less air, the less downforce, the less the engine has, the more work the engine has to do because there's less air, but also the different types of weird setups that you need to put on this car, which is a lot of downforce, doesn't really do much. The car is going to feel very light. It's going to skate around a lot, so the more downforce you can put on the car, the better. However, since it's just such a tough atmosphere, there really isn't much more you can do than just crank on the downforce and let the driver kind of go and do its thing. Where the driver's going to make the big difference is within the slow speed stuff. Like as we come up to here, turn one, obviously you're coming off this really, really long straightaway. One of the longest on the calendar, downshift. You're probably doing this around second or third. Don't take too much of this curb because you have an orange sausage curb there. Get back on the power. You can really attack this curbing here. And this is all sort of slower speed stuff. This is more mechanical grip, I would say. Making sure that the car is very compliant over some of these things. Like if I take a lot of curb here, the car will be like, yeah, okay, put the power on, give me that power, that's it. And then you come to a corner like this, and since that sausage curb is just raised so high, if you take too much of this, it's just gonna really throw the car straight out of balance and your lap is pretty much ruined. So understanding where some of these sausage curbs are for that first part of the lap is really, really important. There's a lot of little technical details as well. Like you would think that the driver wants to pull the car all the way over to the right at this point of the track, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. You kind of actually want to make sure you're straight lining as much as possible. So if we're coming out of that final corner, you're not really going to turn the wheel much because of the curvature and how the track turns, right? So I'm just going to leave the steering wheel straight, and that should get us to our entry for the next turn. See that?
Yeah.
Didn't even turn the wheel, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's interesting.
And then going down into about, you're going to do second or third through here. Most likely you do third or second, depending. But again, you want to make sure you're taking some of the curbing, but not a lot of the curbing. And again, all mechanical sort of components being used here in this sort of slower speed section of the track, and then you're going to be coming up to something that's a little more high speed. And this is where things get really exciting for the drivers. As they come up here, it's not shifting gears, but whatever. This is going to be flat out coming into here. You're looking at probably 6th gear, flat out, and using as much of the curbing as the car will allow you. We've seen drivers have some pretty big accidents here by either taking too much curbing and being spit right into the wall. So that's going to be a thing that a lot of people have to look for. The game doesn't do a great job of showing what these curbs are really like here.
They're a little bit more aggressive than what you're seeing?
Yeah, they're a little more aggressive than what we're playing with right now. I'm not sure why the developers did that. Usually these tracks have actually been really good what we've been playing with. However, coming up to finishing off this lap, at its best is coming through the baseball stadium,
Right.
which
It's such a cool visual, too.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Even where the media center is, which is located quite close to the baseball stadium because it's in the paddock, and the paddock is located close to the baseball stadium as well, you can hear all of these fans when Sergio Perez would come through here in the media center.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. That is so cool. And you know what's awesome about this race, too, is I don't know if you'd qualify it necessarily as like a street track in the traditional sense, but they are sort of making it out of nothing in a street track sort of way, and yet there seems to be room, and it feels like a racetrack. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, there are some, like Jeddah and Singapore and Monaco to some degree, just a little bit too tight, whereas this one I feel like, okay, we got room to maneuver, they can pass, they can do things.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you do have big passing opportunities here at this track, which makes it really exciting. The race is, it depends. Like sometimes you can have a good race here, and sometimes you can have a really boring one.
Yes,
Like
yeah.
sometimes you
the
can have
fans
like
are sometimes what carry it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they're just like, you know what? I mean, the fans are the best part of the whole thing. Like
Yeah.
so. And for some reason, Adam, we can't shift, so we're stuck in reverse at this
Are we stuck
moment.
in? Oh, do we?
are.
Do we? Listen, that would be how like Ferrari to have
Listen,
a jammed up gearbox.
I wanted to show people this last section. So
Okay, well, we're just gonna have to restart it.
Restart the lap.
All right.
But
I love that your gearbox jammed. That's great. That's
I
incredible.
can't believe that. Actually, I've never had that happen before. I was wondering if the steering wheel was broken. Or
So we're gonna have to do a full kind of lap around while you catch up to that last spot there because we just came out of the baseball diamond. But we get to see Tim do this at a little bit of speed here too, which is good. In terms of complexity, Tim, we talked a lot about, last time with the Circuit of the Americas. It's trickier than it looks. Would you say this track is a little bit more of a simplistic look?
what do you mean by simplistic?
Well, in terms of your technical, the S curves at Circuit of the Americas, if you miss up one of them, you're going to be paying for it on the next one or two curves here. This one, I feel like there's a little bit more forgiveness.
There is a little bit. I mean, since once you get into like the slower speed stuff, I mean, if you do make a mistake, it's kind of game over, man, because it is so technically inclined in that sense. If that makes
Of course, yeah.
sense. Like if you lock up or snatch a break here, like it's kind of over.
Right.
And that's sort of it. So, I mean, there are components to this that like you really do have to figure out and get it right, like it did here, talking and driving.
Yes.
Not one of my strong suits, but again, right, like you have to get the curbing just right, and it's just so important to not screw that up. And there are potential here for really messing things up.
Here's the
But
baseball stadium.
As we come into the baseball stadium, this is it may not look that difficult, but for some of the drivers, it's a very technical part of the track that actually is quite challenging, and you can really ruin your lap here by doing a couple of different things. Braking too much, carrying too much speed. By doing that, you're going to be coming in here around third gear probably. Taking a tiny bit of this curb, you don't want to take too much of it, but judging how much speed coming in here is really important, because we see a lot of drivers that'll go off track and get four wheels off, get the penalty, and that'll be the end of their lap. And that is what's going to be so difficult for a lot of drivers, judging and qualifying how much speed to take through that particular turn. Here, not too hard. It's pretty straightforward, making sure you're getting nice and close to the orange bollards on both sides. But here is important. Even though it's straightforward, it's like, oh yeah, it's a little turn, whatever, no problem. It's getting to the apex and then trying to straighten the wheel.
Yeah.
And get it so you can get back on the power without having too much steering lock in the car. So essentially you're kind of aiming for the wall here, that Mexico GP. You're kind of aiming for that GP at the end there, and you're taking some of this. So
Right.
You're not staying completely to the left. You're kind of trying to open up the corner, first of all. But second of all, before you do that, you're trying to get as much speed coming out of that turn, because obviously you're on a push lap. You want to maximize everything. But by doing that, straightening out the wheel as much as you can, getting back to the power sooner, you're going to go faster. There's no question about that. But using a little bit of this on entry is going to be very, very, very important. Because if I'm here, I've opened up the corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have more room to play with. We can go in maybe a little bit later. We can apex a tiny bit later. We can get on the power a little bit sooner. We can straighten the wheel a little bit nicer. If I do something like this, if I don't do the way that I was just talking about and I just kind of come in and I leave all of this room over here, you can see...
Your angle gets pretty tight there very quickly.
Right?
Right,
So you're slowing the car even more now because you got to try and...
And then you got to catch back up to yourself. Exactly. Right, okay. That makes sense.
So there's all those, like, again, right, little tiny details.
Yeah.
Make the difference.
Well, and it's always interesting, too, when you're playing the F1 games, because if you're a beginner like me, you're looking at the racing line they give you, but it's not always necessarily right. So, okay, so Tim, Mexico City, we're going to see you. You're going to be there.
You're going to be there.
On the ground.
Have a couple tequilas, and it's going to be a good time.